Hi once again. Thought I'd sort out one of my boxes of various neons. Popped upstairs and as I say, I don't really know where to start. But anyhow, I picked from this group of lamps, I picked out the different ones and give a short talk. Now the first one I'll show, I did in fact show the other day. I got that, this was in the job lot that I got the other day. Anyway, let's go through some of the other ones. The one we got here is from Russia, manufactured by the Moscow Electric Lamp Company, Melk. And these show the characteristic symbol, the funny shape M. That's in fact a neon. It's got the Russian figures on there. This would have to be used with a resistor, and it's got a phosphor inside. I think these were made in various colours. You've got your small bayonet cap. Now we've got a few small ones here, which we can focus down onto. These are all ones which would need a resistor in circuit. The first one there is English. You've got an American one, and the two at the end are both American. You've got another small one here, the type of lens end type. And that one's made by Philips. They're all quite old. Now, I also mentioned about the slide type lamps. I mentioned about the one that was used in a brand of alarm clock. I still can't think of the name. It's English, it's an English alarm clock. If you ever get a chance of getting one from a boot sale or someone like that, get it, because I think they're quite valuable now. Like a lot of things, you probably chucked them out in the past. But anyhow, this particular alarm clock is quite a good one. And this is the lamp that we use. You can see this lamp is virtually black. You can just probably make out the electrodes inside, but this one's obviously had a lot of use, and that would have come out of one of these clocks. Made by Hyvac. I think Hyvac it did change its name. I can't think of the name, but Hyvac was well known in specialist small lamps, and I think they did valves as well. And on the back you've got 281, and that would be the number of this particular lamp. Also, what they used in the telephone exchanges is another form which has got what the lettering says on there, 6L36A, and that too is made by Hyvac. Hyvac actually seem to make a lot of these small neons. I'm trying to think the name. Vitality. The name Vitality comes to mind. I think they're a branch of an American company. But anyhow, Vitality come, and before Vitality there was Trevita. That's T-R-E Vita, V-I-T-A, Trevita lamps. They go back. I think they were based in Norfolk or Suffolk, somewhere in that area. Let's get on to the other ones before I start waffling again. Here we've got I got a job, a lot of these, as you can probably see in the box. These are a good old American lamp, lamp, GE-NE17, so neon number N17 with the typical electrodes. Small bayonet cap, double pole. These I think also needed a resistor. Next one is one I got many years ago. Well, I got several of them. I think I got them from a shop in Wimbledon, Servo Radio it was called. They were a good shop. I think that's where I got it from, or got them from. It was more than one. By Siemens, and it's got on there, I don't know if you can see this. I'll read it out, it might be easier. It's number, it looks 11ICE, but as you can see it's got the AM and the crown, which is Air Ministry, and these were used in the wartime on the planes, on the fighters I suppose, Air Ministry. So there's a bit of history there. These two needed the resistor. Now when we're talking about that, show you the innards, how that's arranged. Now these were made by Siemens. Now now I say Siemens, that is the English Siemens Brothers. Also I will show this one, which has exactly the same type of electrode arrangements. This was made a little bit later, and it was made by Osram, that's the German Osram, which at that time was a branch of Siemens, the German Siemens. So you can see similarities between the two with the same type of electrodes. I'd say the Siemens type. Coming now on to mains operated lamps. These are pygmy sized lamps. I think they're about half a watt. Little neon indicators, which I remember rightly, the old cookers in the old days that were connected to a socket on the wall would have a little fuse box, and in it would be one of these pointing outwards through a little window. There was simply an indicator lamp. This one I believe was made by Osglim. It's certainly the Osglim style. Okay, it's had a bit of use. These are generally sold with resistors, but not always. I've got another one here, made by a different maker. I'm trying to think what the name is on there. No, I tell a lie, it's the same maker, it's GEC, but it's a slightly different shape to the envelope. These are half a watt on mains voltage 250. Now we come here, something from abroad. Here we have one of the very early flicker candles. Alright, it's got like a lacquer on the glass which is sort of coming off in places, but this is a flicker candle which I believe comes from, it does, I see it on there, Japan. I think it shows up 220 250 volts, Japan. So that is one of the early flicker candles. That goes back many years. I've had these for, God, donkey's years. There's your flicker candles on normal voltage. Coming to another neon indicator, 0.5 watt again. This is Osram. There's nothing sort of anything else on there. Osram made in England. A little small indicator. In fact, I've got one somewhere where the electrodes are much smaller, same size lamp, but smaller electrodes, made by Mazda. But this is the sort of full size electrodes. No resistor required. Here we have a little bit of a bodge up. I understand these were originally just the glass with the leads coming out, and they were used on signs in Russia as a full stop or a point. They're a special type of lamp. They would have had an extra contact, but these have been modified or made up. I don't know who made them up, but they were made up to fit into a normal screw holder, and these work on 240 volts, and they just glow like a, well, they are a neon. These were on offer a few years ago on eBay, but from Russia. Don't know the maker. There's what's written on the glass. I don't think they're Melk or the Moscow Electric Lamp Company. I don't think they are, because I don't see that symbol anywhere. And as I said before, this cap has been put on at a later date. Anyhow, nearly done. Two more lamps here. These, in fact, are both made by Philips. This one has the Philips name on it, and the typical electrodes that the Philips use. It's similar to the other Continental type of arrangement. And once again, Air Ministry. So that was probably used in the last war on the planes. I think this is normal voltage as well. I say this with tongue in cheek because if it doesn't have it on there, it's always best to put a resistor in series with it. You've got your name on the side. Does it say the voltage? It's made in England. It's made in England. But that is the typical Philips type of electrodes. Now, having said that, I'll show you another one which is, in my opinion, much later. It came with the name Criselco, but Criselco was a company in Kempston, Bedfordshire, which was half owned by GEC Osram and half owned by Philips. So the lamps that it would make, you could look at them and say, ah, that's made by Osram or that's made by Philips. Well, this one is definitely made by Philips, and you get the modern, I say modern, it's a few years old, but it's the modern design of the electrodes, and you've got a little lens end to the glass. I don't know what else is on there. 200 to 260 volt, 0.5 watt. Criselco, made in England. So this was made in England, presumably by the other Philips company. Probably in Croydon or Mitcham. I know they had factories there. I think they had factories elsewhere in the British Isles, but that's the ones I remember. Anyhow, that's all the little neons I'm going to talk about today. I hope I haven't driven you all to sleep. I put this one in. It's not a neon, as you can see. It's a tungsten lamp, a normal tungsten filament lamp. And the reason I show this is this would be an ideal lamp, and that's made by Crystal Co as well, by the way. 200 to 260 volts. It's funny they use the term 200 to 260. Normally it's 200 to 250. But the interesting thing is 10 watt. If you can use one that's even less, say 5 watts, which some nightlight lamps were 5 watts, you can use this type in series to test a neon which needed a resistor, because this would reduce the amount of current so you wouldn't get the lamp to explode. But even then I would still be tempted to perhaps hook it up in series but use a variac so you can still control the voltage. Anyhow, that's more or less all I've got to say on those. They're the two packets that was on the Osram neon and the Osram on that one there. So we got the two. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. That'd be on. Get it right in a minute. Those two. They were the two there. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope I haven't driven you all to sleep. Any questions, I'll try and get back to you. It's just that, I don't quite know what to put up next. I'd like to put some more plants up, but at the moment, I just realised it's not very nice out, although at the moment the sun is trying to get through. And believe it or not, and I haven't looked yet, but I know it's arrived, it looks like my watch has finally arrived. It was just dropped off while I started this talk, so I'll have a little look at that. If it's any good, I might put it up on show. No, I've got my doubts. Anyhow, thanks again for watching. I'm going to shut up. And yeah, as I say, any ideas or anything, give a mention. Thanks again. Thank you.